Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, and it's time for random reviews from the Overflow room. Well, in today's episode, we begin with, actually we're only going to deal with three composers. One who you've probably never heard of. He's here on the CMAX label. His name is Johan Peter Selmer. Now, this is a disc coupled with Johan Svendsen. Svendsen, who wrote the symphony that Grieg wished he wrote, or whatever. This is with the Oslo Philharmonic Orchestra, Mikhail Yurovsky conducting. He's always very good in this music. And CMAX does wonderful sonics. I reviewed this at ClassicsToday.com. Now, you can go over to ClassicsToday.com and read the review. Or you can just listen to me read it to you, because that's what I'm going to do. I was sort of proud of this review for various reasons, but I think you'll get a sense of it. These are extremely unequal works. Svendsen is as dull as ditch water, and Selmer is kind of interesting, and that's why I actually keep this under Selmer, under S-E-L, I think. Not that I'll ever remember Selmer's name or ever be able to find this again. I should have put it under Svendsen, but we've already passed the SVs, so I'm stuck. Here's the review. You ready? In the early 1970s, Johan Svendsen and his American wife, Sally Levitt, got to be friends with Dick and Cosima Wagner. Yes, they were. According to CMAX's booklet notes, Sally was a, quote, mosaic Jew, unquote. I must have missed something at my bar mitzvah. I didn't know there was any other kind. With the contrivance of her husband, and in between marathon evenings of bridge, charades, and Monopoly, Dick and Cosima worked her over until she finally agreed to convert to Christianity. Apparently, they locked the poor woman in the basement with a brass band that played the Pilgrim's Chorus from Tannhäuser until she caved in under the bombastic pressure. Sally was by all accounts a championship Monopoly player, and the Wagners, sore losers at best, couldn't bear the thought of being beaten by a Jew, mosaic or otherwise. Anyway, Sally's baptism was such a touching event that her husband felt compelled to write the tone poem Zoraida, which is on here, which purportedly deals with the subject of a Moorish princess who similarly adopts the Christian faith. Now, there are few things in music duller than 19th century bourgeois sentimental religiosity, and this piece is no exception. It's a snooze, but then so is Sigurd Slimba. That's on here too. A story of unbridled violence that finds little, if any, analog in Svendsen's resolutely conservative and unadventurous music. It's a shame, really, because the performances sound marvelous, and as usual with this label, they are stunningly recorded. Happily, the much longer couplings by Johan Selmer, here we are, more than make up for these Svendsen disappointments. Unlike his compatriot Selmer, who lived from 1844 to 1910, was a progressive, a big fan of Berlioz, and you can hear it in his absolutely nutty Carnival at Flanders, a work that gives new meaning to the phrase bang on a can. Yeah. The tone poem Prometheus also is full of colorful sounds and characterful passages, even if the relationship of the music to the involved storyline seems a mite tenuous at times. Best just to listen to it in the abstract and enjoy hearing the composer's imagination romp about the orchestra with admirable freedom and skill. For these two pieces alone, fans of rare romantic repertoire will find this disc well worth the investment, and as noted already, the performances and sonics are well nigh unbeatable. So there you go. Svendsen is the most disappointing romantic composer I've ever heard. I mean, virtually everything he wrote is just terminally dull, in my view. But, Selmer, okay, we got somebody there. So this is something to consider on CMAX, again, with the Oslo Philharmonic. There it is. I'm holding it up, as some of you have asked, so that you can see it, if you can read it. I mean, can you make it out there? Yeah, there it is, with Mikhail Yurovsky. Really a fine and interesting disc. And the Svendsen stuff is just... Okay, next, Ruth Crawford Seeger. Now, Ruth Crawford Seeger is a composer whose music has blown hot and cold with me, to be honest. First, let's see what we have here, and then we can talk about her a little bit. On CPO, because I've got a bunch of discs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 discs. The String Quartet and Other Chamber Works with Ensemble Aventure and the Pellegrini Quartet. So this is on CPO. I mean, most of her music is quite brief and completely dodecaphonic or atonal in some way or shape. The String Quartet from 1931 is only 11 minutes long and 4 movements. So, she's interesting. Yes, interesting. Then we've got, what's this thing? Suite for Violin and Piano, Study in Mixed Accents, 9 Preludes for Piano. Her Diaphonic Suite, she wrote a whole bunch of those. 3 tones to poems by Carl, 3 songs, 3 tones. 3 songs to poems by Carl Sandburg for mezzo, piano, and percussion. Well, that's interesting. And the Suite for Wind Quintet. These are with various people on CRI. Remember CRI? I don't know where that disc wound up. Then we've got the Crawford Seeger portrait disc on Deutsche Grammophon with Oliver Knussen, where we've got, music for small orchestra, 3 chants for women's chorus, the Study in Mixed Accents again, 3 songs, and the String Quartet, 2 Richard Carre. I don't know what Oliver Knussen had to do with this. He conducts the music for small orchestra and the 3 chants and a few other things. And something by Charles Seeger, who was her husband, John Hardy, it's called, and then her Suite for Wind Quintet, which we know before. What we got here? A Albany disc of, this is sort of different. Marion Bauer from the New Hampshire Woods, another interesting lady composer of the day. Turbulence, Opus 17, number 2, and Sonata for Viola and Piano, and her 4 piano pieces, which are marked Chromaticon, Ostinato, Toccata, and Syncope. Yeah. With Virginia Eskin piano, Arnold Steinhardt viola, and the Charleston String Quartet doing, Seeger stuff, kaleidoscopic changes on an original theme ending with a fugue, and the selections from 19 American folk songs for piano, and then the Suite number 2 for 4 strings and piano. In other words, it's a piano quintet. Yeah, and then we've got more stuff here with Sarah Cahill, who has championed female composers for her whole life. This is New Albion, the 9 Preludes, the Piano Study in Mixed Accents, and then Johanna Bayer, who's not to be confused with Marion Bauer, Dissonant Counterpoint and Gebrauchsmusik. Yeah. So you've got a bunch of interesting lady composers. Now, Crawford Seeger. I've come to the conclusion, regretfully, that she gets a lot more attention than she probably deserves. First, because she's female, and second, because she was an avant-garde composer in her day in the 20s and 30s. That she was talented, there's no question. Her music I find rather dry and often uninteresting. She was only 42, I think, here, 1901 to 1953, when she passed away. So I tried. That's why these are all in the Overflow room. I tried. But do I listen to her often? No. As a historical figure, she's certainly interesting. But I don't urge you to all run out and listen to Ruth Crawford Seeger. I mean, if you hear something that intrigues you, by all means, go ahead. But I find her music to be not of lasting quality. And I hate to say it, but that's my opinion. That's just my opinion. I've heard her raved about on this channel and in other places. But I wonder how many people go home after a busy day at work and say, oh, gee, I just really need to listen to some Ruth Crawford Seeger with my, pizza or whatever I'm having for dinner. I don't know. Doesn't do it for me. But I hang on to it because of its historical importance. And I don't deny that. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.